All right, we are live. So, NASCAR is working on the short track package down in Richmond. Day one did not go well. It's looking like day two also did not go well. They tried the reverse splitter and some other things, but it looks like none of it worked. And we know none of it worked because typically NASCAR will shoot you a line of bull, like with the new car when they said they we like the numbers were and stuff like that. This one, they're not even saying that. They're just saying we're not getting the desired effects that we were hoping for. So they're not even. It's so bad. It's so not working that they're not even bothering lying about it. Plus, you can go look at the front stretch videos, or you can look at some of the interviews from Bob Pockrass, NBC Sports, whoever. None of them seem overly optimistic. A lot of the drivers are saying they can't feel any difference. So it just looks like this fix didn't work. So it looks like we got what we got for this year, at least, probably trailing into next year, too. Hopefully, NASCAR gets super aggressive with it and does fix it at some point. Maybe they get aggressive and have some more tests in between here and now. But as it stands right now, not looking hopeful for Martinsville, to say the very least. The next Martinsville race, I would say. So yeah, bad news. The other big rumor going around, and it is just that, a rumor. But Jordan Bianchi from the Athletic. No, what does he do? It's not the Athletic, is it? Nah, it's not the Athletic. What is he part of? Anyway, Sports Business Journal. Jordan Bianchi. He's saying that there are rumors that Noah Gregson might be out of the 42, and they're going to put John Hunter Nemechek in there. So that's the big rumor today. I don't know how I feel about that. It would be kind of crappy for Legacy to give Noah 1 year, especially in a year where they tanked their season before it started by switching their by telling Chevrolet they're switching to Toyota and not getting factory support. Kind of crappy from that aspect. I thought the same thing when RCR did the same thing to Daniel Hemrick, only giving him 1 year. But at least he had factory support on his 1 year, and then Tyler Reddick came in. I understood why they made the move, but giving Daniel Hemrick only 1 year was kind of crappy. So if they only give Noah, it's just a rumor at this point. But if Noah only gets 1 year and they bring in John Hunter Nemechek, kind of crappy. Let's see here. Check the chat here. We'll jump into the chat. Bristol will still be fine because it's Bristol. Martinsville hasn't been the half mile of mayhem with this car, other than the Hail Melon. That's true, at least as far as TV goes. I'll be interested to see how NBC's TV coverage of Martinsville differs from how Fox did it, because I think you'll see a lot more battles throughout the field the way NBC's doing their coverage this year. Richmond has declined as a track since the end of the Gen 6. That's fairly accurate. They stopped putting sealer on it, too, as part of the problem. I think you saw the front stretch video I referred to. I did see at least the Ryan Priest one. Short track package fixed for next year. Maybe. Yeah, it'll be at least next year from what we're seeing here. Tires ain't going to fix it, says Shaw. They need more power. I think you could go to a skinnier tire and that would help, but they're definitely going to need more power. The tire they got now is too wide, especially for the amount of horsepower they got. So they could go to a skinnier tire. It's got to be some type of ratio. If you're going to keep this tire, you definitely need to bump it up to more power. Bigger engine would help, says Mark Barnum. I don't know about a bigger engine. Just unleash the one that they've got now. In between the lanes, what's going on? Word to the bird, gentlemen. What's up, E. Damon? Say Kyle. I can't hang too long. But here to say what's up and smash that. I appreciate you there, say Kyle. So if you want to hit that like button, it would be much appreciated. That interview was a bummer, says one wise guy. Yeah, basically, any of the interviews are pretty much cut and paste. They're all the same. They were like they didn't feel any difference, and hopefully tomorrow, which would be today in the interviews, it'll be better. And then today, the stuff they tried didn't make much difference. So looks like it's just a fail all the way around. No way a fix could be implemented this year, even if there was one, says Shaw. Yep, that's a fact. The way you got that goes back to the single source supplier. That's part of that issue. Ty Dillon does have a ride next year, says one wise guy. So hey, so there you go. Ty Dillon definitely has a ride. Maybe JJ wants the GIS with Legacy. I don't know. John Hunter Nemechek with Legacy, it seems to be more of a Toyota move. Toyota, I guess, is real big on him. So that seems to be the driving force behind that. Hopefully, Chevrolet takes care of Noah Gragson because I think Noah Gregson's a super talented race car driver. Nothing against John Hunter Nemechek. John Hunter Nemechek in his 1 year when he in the Cup Series when he finished races really well for Front Row Motorsports. But unfortunately, he wrecked a lot of races too. So he has, and even in the Xfinity Series, he's kind of a win or wreck type of driver. Not that Noah Gragson isn't, but I think if you give Noah Gragson more time, I think he'll be okay too. I wonder what if they let more air into the intake. Says Chrome Diesel. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing they could do is remove the tapered spacer or whatever they want to call that thing. Basically, a restrictor plate, but they don't want to call it a restrictor plate anymore. NASCAR needs Noah to be successful. Kid's a solid driver and sound clip, Jim of Honesty. Sound clip, Jim of Honesty. Yeah, he's a good personality for the sport. He's like Tim Richmond without the wins right now. So he's got all kinds of charisma, and he's really good to the fans too. So I was watching the Xfinity Series race at Martinsville this year, and Noah Gragson climbed into the stands, and not climbed into the stands, but he wasn't in the Xfinity race. So he was in the stands, and he was sitting beside anybody that had a Noah Gragson shirt on. He would go up and talk to them. Like, he is one of the most outgoing drivers for the fans. So to lose him from the Cup Series would be a huge blow. And I'm not sitting here trying to toot Noah's horn, but when is the last time you saw an active Cup driver go up in the stands and just sit with his fans and have a chat with them? I thought that was really cool, and it was at that moment that I was like, you know what? For better or worse, I'm going to go be a Noah Gragson fan here. So I thought that was really cool. Be interesting to see if NASCAR produces a better show, the Fox or NBC in the 2025 with the CW now. Oh yeah, that's going to be an interesting thing to compare and contrast how the Xfinity Series races are called versus how NBC and Fox do their deal. I think that's going to be something cool to watch. Good point, Mark Barnum. I like the way you're thinking there. Ty Dillon's ride next year will be Kenworth racing cross country for Taylor Swift, says Ian Fisher. Shaw says, cool hat. Yeah, so this is Daniel Suarez Trackhouse. I can't say it in Spanish, but the Day of the Dead in the Spanish. I can't say it in Spanish. I can. It just sounds more hickish than my normal accent. Interviews are as repetitive. I'm real funny about speaking different languages. My accent is so bad. Interviews were as repetitive as the car was as fast as an Xfinity 10G. Says Seikau. Yeah, they were all pretty much the same. They couldn't just come out and say, this isn't working, this sucks, and it's bad. They couldn't just come out and say that, but that's basically what it was. Would resin help Richmond? I say repave and add sealer back to it. They used to put sealer down all the time, so I'm with you there, Napa fan. 100%. I don't know about the repave, but they definitely need to start at least putting the sealer back down. A repave definitely wouldn't hurt for sure, though. Do you know what is this new driver incentive program wants to invest going past 2025? I'm not sure, Chrome Diesel. I've heard people throw that term out there, but I'm not 100% sure what they're talking about. No details of it, at least that I've seen. I'm sure they're out there somewhere. I just haven't seen them. I just watched the truck race this afternoon. It was a good race for once, says Mark Barnum. It was a really good race. And the other thing, that's two races. No DNFs for the trucks and no DNFs in the Cup Series. I really can't remember the last time we saw something like that happen. One wise guy said, I was asking if Ty had a ride. There was a typo. I don't know. I think the Spire situation is super fluid over there because I don't know even if they know if Andretti is going to buy in or not. That seems to be the big rumor. Once again, this is all conjecture and rumor. But I think they're waiting on that. So I don't think they're going to know who's going to be in any of those seats until the end of the year. I'm 100% sure, though, Ty Dillon will have a ride as long as he wants one because I'm 100% sure Richard Childress will find somewhere for him to race, whether it be the Xfinity Series or the Cup Series. He'll find something for him. Like Dislike says, is the Xfinity Series supposed to switch over to the next-gen car next year or in the future? They are, in my opinion, they'll eventually switch over to something, but I don't know if they set a time frame for that or not. If Noah gets kicked out of his ride, could he go back to JRM? That's an interesting question. I think it would certainly would have to come into play. And it was my first thought too. I was like, well, if Junior moves up, he's still got Noah Gragson he could start his team with if Martin Truex doesn't want to do it. So that did pop into my head as far as that goes, but I didn't think about going back down to Xfinity. I think Noah Gragson showed he's really good in Xfinity. I don't see where he needs to go back down. I just think he needs. Hopefully, it doesn't happen. It is just a rumor, but hopefully they keep him in there. But I don't see him being a guy that needs to go back down. Where I think they rushed Harrison Burton up, and Harrison Burton a few more years in Xfinity would probably help him. I don't think Noah Gragson was rushed up. Robin Mark says you have an accent. I hadn't noticed. It's subtle, but it's there. I'm joking, of course. Chris the dude, as was Robin. Good to have you on here, Robin Marks. What's up, Robin? What's up, Canada? Late to the chat, but how close are you to 10K? I think just under. Last time I looked at it, I was just under 100. So about 100 more, and we'll be at 10K, and we'll get the Fiat project going. At least the purchase of the Fiat. I guess that'll be the first video. Late to the chat, but how close are you? I just read that one. Wow. Whoops. Say Kyle, catch y'all later. I'll be back if you run long, BB. I appreciate you there, say Kyle. Glad you could pop in for a minute. And if we run long enough, it'd be good to see you when you come back. Luke of Magog, RCR, a good short track this weekend, which is what they've been lacking. Yeah, 100%. They needed a good short track run, and not only that, but they didn't have to do it with strategy. They actually had the raw speed at the end. It took them a while to get it dialed in, especially with Austin Dillon. But once they got the speed dialed in, they actually had the actual speed to get up there. Now, Kyle Busch didn't have the long run speed, but he definitely had the short run speed. And after the short run, it looked like he could maintain his track position at least. Ian Fisher, 9.999 subs, Kyle. Says Ian Fisher. So there you go. I wouldn't blame Noah. I think it's the cars. His brakes blew up. Yeah, he's had a lot of mechanical failures too, so it's not to look past that. Last race, he qualified good, but I watched his car fade pretty fast. Yeah, I think he's going to be a good driver. I hope they keep him. Nothing against John Hunter Nemechek. I think John Hunter Nemechek's a good driver. I always thought he was crazy for leaving Front Row Motorsports and going and racing trucks because he had a pretty good rookie season with Front Row, but he did what he did. So it is what it is. Bloney, your accent sounds like me and all my peeps I know. You must be an Alberta Canuck. Says Shaw. I don't know if that's how they sound in Alberta, but this is definitely how they sound in my neck of the woods in North Carolina. John, repave increasing banking to 18 degrees, but with variable banking like Iowa, apply the sealer. That probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Iowa looks like it races pretty decent. New driver for the 42, John Hunter Nemechek, says Delmar Kaufman. Yeah, that's the big rumor from Jordan Bianchi. He's usually right. But it is at this point still just a rumor, and that's just the crazy part. I can't believe they only gave Noah Gragson 1 year, but it appears to be driven by Toyota. Toyota is really high on John Hunter Nemechek, and they want him to go somewhere. I thought Denny Hamlin was going to be super high on him, and he was going to go to like a third 2311 car, but apparently 2311, if this rumor is true, I don't think 2311 is going to expand because I think that's the guy that Denny Hamlin wanted. So if he's going to Legacy, it just leaves it up in the air as to where Noah is going to go. Could this Legacy rumor possibly have anything to do with SVG coming to Cup Series and maybe also signing with Legacy? I doubt it. It seems to be John Hunter Nemechek driven. It seems to be them going to Toyota, John Hunter Nemechek driven. I think the SVG, I think still the inside line on SVG is going to be Trackhouse, and something's going to get worked out over there in Trackhouse. Whether Trackhouse runs a Xfinity car for him or whether Trackhouse runs a points car that doesn't have a charter. I think Trackhouse has the inside line, but there's obviously some other places that line up. And the 10 car, the Ford for Stewart Haas Racing, I'm thinking that's going to be a guy that's probably in the Truck Series. If I'm guessing, I'm thinking the 10 car is going to be Zane Smith, which would save, in my opinion, Harrison Burton. So I think Harrison Burton stays in the 21. But that's just me guessing. I think Zane Smith lining up for the 10 makes sense. And I've seen a few people in the comments say that they think it's going to be Zane Smith too. Chrome Diesel, do you think they should change the gear ratio to prevent shifting at ovals? It probably wouldn't hurt. I don't know if that's necessarily the whole problem with short tracks, but it definitely wouldn't hurt. I'll say that. But we saw Denny Hamlin running second in the Richmond race, and he was staying in fifth gear. So I don't know. I guess it depends on the track, but yeah, it wouldn't hurt for them to make the gear ratio not advantageous to shift at short tracks, I guess is the best way to say it. I know we don't love repaves, but look at what Atlanta has become. At the same time, though, Atlanta's repave has wore out the surface faster. Yeah. So with all the good, sometimes comes some bad. So we'll just have to see how Atlanta plays out. I guess that's just going to be a long-term case study. It was interesting. Dean Thompson confronted Haley after the race, blaming her for his spin when she was not within 10 feet of him when he spun out. That's race car drivers, man. Like until they see the replay, it's always going to be somebody else's fault. 9 times out of 10, that's how race car drivers are. I know Gragson getting the boot. Sounds like so-called journalists stirring the pot to cause crap, says Shah. Yeah, like I said, it's just a rumor, but I don't know. It seems crazy to me, but it makes sense from the Toyota angle, the Toyota perspective. But it really would stink if they only gave Noah Gragson 1 year, especially in a throwaway year where they didn't have factory support. So-called journalists, plural, says Shah. Narrow the track, says John. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Richmond raced pretty good back in the day with the Gen 5 and the early Gen 6 car, I think. I think the regular season champ should automatically get into the Final Four. That would make sense. It would make sense. I don't know if NASCAR will ever do that, or just a bigger boost. They at least make it to the Final 8 would be fair. I think. Hey, BB, best streamer in NASCAR category. No doubt, says Jay Santos. Appreciate the super chat there. Big fist bump for you. Let's see here. I don't know if I'm the best, but I try my hardest. I can promise you that. Let's see here. Ian Fisher, Bass Pro money is deep for Noah, and Wendy's has got to love him. Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Like, the only aspect of this that makes any sense is Toyota wants John Hunter Nemechek, but I feel like Noah Gragson is pretty well funded. So I don't know. Has Noah Gragson landed somewhere else with a Chevrolet team? That's the only way this makes sense too. Did like Noah Gragson find another Chevrolet ride first, and that's why they're going to put, if the rumor is true, that's why they're going to put John Hunter Nemechek in that car. I don't know. Like when I heard this, I was like, that's crazy that they only gave Noah Gragson 1 year. But yeah, you're right. He's got sponsorship pretty well locked up. 750 horsepower is needed for or higher for the short tracks. Yeah, especially with this bigger tire that they got. If we had it our way, it would be 900 to 1,000 horsepower, says Napa Racing fan. Oh yeah, 100%. And the tires would go back to being not as wide as they are now. Go back to the wideness they were with the old car. I didn't realize Harvick won Michigan in 2018, 2019, and 2020. This may be his win. Qualifies really well there, says one wise guy. Yeah, that's when they had the cheated up back glass. And ever since then, he hasn't been as fast there. But Rodney Childress has a infinite bag of tricks, so we'll see what happens. Maybe Noah has a contract with Chevy. That could be the reason for the change, says Delmar Kaufman. Yeah, so that is the only other thing that makes sense. If this is both manufacturer-driven, Chevrolet is going to take Noah and put him somewhere, and Toyota is going to take John Hunter Nemechek and put him somewhere. That, to me, that is the only way this makes any sense because as it was just pointed out, Noah Gragson is pretty good on sponsorship, and John Hunter Nemechek is not pretty good on sponsorship. From the Kyle Busch comment where he says, how come John Hunter Nemechek's not racing in the Cup Series? Because he needs about $6 million, right? Remember that one? How long is the Paul Tracy suspension? Oh, that's a good question. As far as I know, it was only one race. I don't know if they made it some type of indefinite suspension. I'm not super up on that, but it might be an indefinite suspension. I don't know. Why did they get rid of the high horsepower package after 2014? NASCAR Collector. They want to encourage other manufacturers to get into the sport, and they think with lower horsepower, that will encourage other manufacturers to come into the sport. Napa Racing fan says it is, in fact, indefinite suspension for Paul Tracy. Jason Ratcliffe says the Noah thing is OEM driven. Noah will still have a ride. Chevy will keep him in the camp, maybe the Spire 77. So there you go. It seems to be manufacturer driven on both sides. That is interesting. One wise guy saying nice. Chrome Diesel, if G56 had Garage 56 car had 750 that lasted 24 hours, why not add it to the current Cup car? I mean, that's a fair question. For whatever reason, they think 670 or whatever it is now is the magic number to attract a new OEM, which also doesn't make sense to me because we know that they're going to switch to a hybrid motor at some point. So why not just let this motor run free? Why not just let this motor run and do what it's going to do? Because you know the other manufacturers are going to be more encouraged to come into the sport when everybody has to technically change their engine package for whatever's coming up with the hybrid motor, which will be just an electric boost to the gasoline engine. It won't be electric. There won't be no sound. I hate talking about electric cars. That's not what I'm talking about here. I don't need to see it in the chat. Let's see. I heard that Large and Spider from Barstool Sports, NASCAR, podcast Rubbing is Racing are going to be grand marshals for the Xfinity Series race this weekend in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Well, that's pretty cool. That's really cool for them. In between the lanes, the regular season champ gets 15 playoff points. Yeah, but it should be way more than that. John Ray, like I don't know. He should get like a healthy dose of points where it would almost be impossible for him not to be locked into the final 8. The second best NASCAR streamer sentiment, Jason Ratcliffe says, Noah should go back to. I'll take any top 5, any top 10, top 15, top 100. I'm good with whatever. Noah should go back to Xfinity one more year. Says NASCAR collector. Would you rather have Noah or John Hunter driving your car? Says like dislike. I was about to answer that, and then I saw you want that for a poll question. So I'll go ahead and close this poll out. I'm not going to answer that because I don't want to affect the new poll coming up. Let's see here. I can't spell, so I'm just going with John H. Nimmy. And I'll ask the community there. So there you go. New poll question. Who do you want in your Cup Series car, John Hunter Nemechek or Noah Gragson? I can't spell Gregson either, so I just stopped at Noah. So there you go. Full disclosure. Let's see here. E. Damon, 2014, 2015. If Nemechek to Legacy MC and then Gregson to Colleague, he did run some Cup races for them in the 16 last year, says Napa Racing Fan. Jason Ratcliffe going hands down John Hunter Nemechek in his opinion. You think NASCAR will ever get rid of the one lug nut? If so, it will be good to change. We'll make it better for the teams. I wish they would get rid of it, but for whatever reason, from a safety perspective, it seems like the big lug nut on this particular rim is safer and attaches better. For whatever reason, I'm not going to sit here and get into the physics of it, but for whatever reason, it's safer. So I doubt that they'll ever get rid of it. But 5 lug nuts was more entertaining from a competitive standpoint. I do agree with you as far as that goes. Hey, BB, how does NASCAR spec the horsepower? I'm sure they just have a regulation book, and you got to go by those regulations. And according to their regulations, you shouldn't be able to get more than about 670 horsepower, which means the teams are probably going crazy and getting 675 or 690. But 670 is the NASCAR standard. But the engine manufacturers are going to figure out ways. Tracy is gone, thank God, says Mark Barnum. Good point on the sponsorship. Jason Ratcliffe saying, so yeah, whoever brought that up, that was a good point. That was not from me. That was not an original thought. I can't remember who brought it up in the chat, but good on you for that. That was a strong point. Noah Gragson and Ty Gibbs having a history. It is possible Joe Gibbs may have put the fix out on Noah. Maybe. I don't know if Joe Gibbs. Here's my thoughts on Joe Gibbs. The reason that Legacy Motorsports is going to Toyota is because Toyota doesn't want Joe Gibbs to have as much control. So I would think, as far as manufacturing decisions go, because Toyota is probably still very irritated that Kyle Busch is not driving a Toyota. So my thinking is Joe Gibbs is going to have less say in Toyota matters going forward because of, in my opinion, what was a big dust up over Toyota, because Toyota was very vocal that they wanted to keep Kyle Busch. And Joe Gibbs did not, for whatever reason, I'm not even going to get into it because it's all speculation, but for whatever reason, Joe Gibbs did not get the job done of keeping Kyle Busch there. Even with the lowering of the horsepower, no new manufacturers were even coming over, so why not just go and put 900 again, says NASCAR collector, or at least bump it up to where it's 700 and something. Like that, they could easily do that. According to engine builders, if you watch Eric Estep's new video, he quotes some of the engine builders who said it would be nothing to add 80 or 100 more horsepower, and it wouldn't cost them anything hardly at all. Bruce Reed says the start times are still bothering me. These new start times just suck because of the TV sponsorships. Yeah, three o'clock in the afternoon is a weird time to start stuff. But then again, NFL football, like they start at 2, so apparently TV has it figured out to where 3 o'clock in the afternoon East Coast time is apparently the optimal starting time for day games or day races in this situation. 2024, you can buy a Mustang with more horsepower, or a Camaro, or a Dodge Challenger, or a Dodge Charger. There's tons of cars you can buy. I don't know how much the Supra has. Supra might have more horsepower. I'm not sure though. I don't think it does. But yeah, definitely all of those you can buy with more horsepower. Mustang, I just saw a thing on Motor Trend today. Mustang Dark Horse racetrack package or something. They're making a 500 horsepower track only Mustang coming up in the next iteration of the Mustang they're making here. 2024. I just read that one. Napa Racing Fan did you mention who would replace Paul Tracy? I think it's going to be Johnny Benson, if I'm not mistaken. If I remember the story correctly, I think it's Johnny Benson, but I might be wrong on that. Just going off the top of my head. Napa Racing Fan, love the name of the Xfinity race at Michigan, the Cabo Wabo 250. Do we get Sammy Hagar as Grand Marshal then? He sold off his shares in Cabo Wabo, so he no longer at least has majority share of it. I think he sold off all of his shares. So yeah, he no longer, because I was talking about that last year, I think, and yeah, somebody schooled me on that one. Yeah, he sold his share of that, unfortunately. One wise guy, it is Johnny. Oh, so it is Johnny Benson this week at Berlin, says Mark Barnum. So there you go. No, I mean, are you hands down? No, I mean, you are hands down the best NASCAR streamer. Was seconding the sentiment, says Jay. Oh, appreciate you, man. Like either way, I'm just happy to be in the conversation, man. So yeah, I don't mind at all. But yeah, sorry I misread your I misread your comment. I apologize about that, Jason. Johnny Benson says Napa Racing Fan. One wise guy says thanks to Napa. Who remembers Jamie McMurray going 219 at Michigan in 2018? Jamie McMurray, man, if it was a big fast track, that cat was he was on top of it. Poll needed a third option. E. Damon said neither. LOL. So yeah, I probably should have put like at least a third option. Third poll: Thursday Night Thunder or Thursday Night Football. Says one wise guy. I'm watching Me personally, I'm watching Thursday Night Thunder. I like football, but I'm not in love with it the way I'm in love with racing, any type of racing, honestly. Not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but perhaps NASCAR doesn't want more horsepower prior to electric, so fans can't complain that the hybrid electric cars lack the power of traditional gas engines, says Jamie Schweitzer. So I hate to be Debbie Downer here, but like you can make electric engines or electric motors are typically going to have way more power than internal combustion engines. The problem with electric is the more power it has, the faster it's going to run out. Like we all remember playing with little toy electric cars as kids. And then for 10 minutes, it was the most awesome thing ever. And that's about the problem with anything electric. For about 10 minutes, it's the most awesome thing ever. And it's going to absolutely rip. Then after that, it's gonna poop out. But yeah, it'll still be just basically however much horsepower the gas engines have. And it'll just have like an electric boost, I guess, either at times or throughout the race. They'll turn it on and off. There's all kinds of ways they can go about doing it. I got to shut up the barns and watch for this rocket launch at 8:30. Probably too hazy though, says Jason Rackle. So yeah, if you want to see the rocket launch, that's coming on in about 2 minutes in your area. Missed the sound of pit row on the 5 lug nuts. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Napa Race Fan Thunder, Thursday Night Thunder, V6 with a power adder run by a computer. The main was how to turn it on, says Gator Red. Jason Ratcliffe with a piece. Check you later, Jason. Not a John Hunter Ian Fisher, not a John Hunter Nemechek fan, but damn, he's been impressive. He might be the best. It might be the best burnout of the year. Burn the car down. Yeah, so it was a cool burnout. I was very vocal about that, though. If I was working on that team, I would have been freaking mad because he burned down one of my fastest cars, man. Chrome diesel. It was cool for the fans, though. The V8 hydrogen tested by Stapleton 42. Take notes, NASCAR. Hey, there you go. Hydrogen's not perfect either. The more power, the closer you get to making a hydrogen bomb and taking out a city block. but it is what it is. Like I said, nothing's perfect. If I ever win the Powerball, I will become a pay-to-play NASCAR driver. Says like this, like I don't blame you. I've got the same thought process. I just never play the Powerball. Non-point exhibition races should be run what you brung type engine. Bring 2,000 horsepower engine if you want. Good luck in the turns. Says Ghetto Streamlabs. Yeah, I miss the old days of engineer what you can engineer. I don't mind the one lug nut. But I do feel like a smaller wheel with the same tire would give more sidewall and better performance. I like some sidewall. Low profile is basically bias ply. Yeah, the low profile you've got no tire squish as they call it. So you got nothing to play with there. Too stiff. No. Oh, there you go. Shaw's on the same page here. Too stiff. No play. Your Beltran down. Of Toyota being pissed that JGR is taking the cheaper route with 54 spot on. Losing KBM was a big deal, says Ian Fisher. Yeah, so I defy you, until this year, I defy you to go find me a Toyota commercial about NASCAR that didn't have Kyle Busch on it. Toyota had spent so much money making Kyle Busch the face of Toyota NASCAR, and then Joe Gibbs didn't do everything in their power, in Toyota's view, in my opinion, to bring Kyle Busch back. If you're Toyota, could you possibly be happy with that situation? That's just my take on it. I might be completely off in left field, but that's just how I've always felt about it. I felt that when Legacy announced that, hey, we're going to be Toyota, that was my first literal thought. I was like, Toyota is big mad, and they're taking as much power away from Joe Gibbs as they can, because if they have another situation, let's say Toyota wanted to keep Martin Truex, right? And Joe Gibbs was like, yeah, we're just going to let Martin Truex Jr. walk. We're going to bring in somebody cheaper. Well, this time Toyota has some options. They've got 2 seats at 2311, and they've got 2 seats over there at Legacy Motor Club. So I think that's a fair statement to make. Once again, it's just my opinion. I have no inside knowledge about that, but looking at it from the Toyota perspective, that's how I think about it. Still 6 minutes on the countdown. If you live in northern NC or the VAs, should be able to see it. It's heavy, headed to the International Space Station. Later, y'all. Appreciate you there, Jason Ratcliffe. Jamie Schweitzer is saying, I wasn't able to participate in the poll. The poll scrolled down, hiding the bottom answer, and wasn't able to pick. John Hunter Nemechek, likely I screwed up, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, I don't know. So right now, though, the poll question, we got 63% Noah and 37% for John H. Nimmy. And I just did that because I can't spell. I'm not trying to influence the poll or make fun of anybody or whatever it could be interpreted as. Let's see here. What do you think about the Winter Circle wave coming back to stores? That's pretty cool, man. Winter Circle was the bomb back in the day. And before then, it was actually Racing Champions. So there's all kinds of nostalgia. 4-hour pit stops for a battery charge, says Ghetto Streamlabs. We'll see. If they ever, I'm not, you know what? I'm not even going to talk about electric cars because people get worked up. People get worked up, so I'm not going to talk about it. But if I were to talk about electric cars, here's what I would say. You would run all 3 series on the same day. And you run the Cup Series first. They recharge for a while. Then you run the Xfinity Series. Then you run the Truck Series. And you see what I'm saying? You get your recharge cycles that way. Or you could just have a separate battery and swap the battery in. All kinds of ways of going about it. That's it. I'm not talking about electric cars anymore. Bruce Reed, I don't need to read the comments about I'll never watch NASCAR if they go to electric. I don't think I get it. I get where you're coming from. I think Stuart Haas Racing made the right decision to have Josh Berry drive the 4 next year. I feel he will do well and will be a good successor for Kevin Harvick. I think they picked the right guy. I like Josh Berry. He kicked our teeth in the entire time that we were racing the Cars Tour with Craig Moore. So yeah, he's good. Bobby McCarty's another good one. Hopefully Bobby McCarty gets a chance at some point in the Truck Series or Xfinity Series. Because he's got 3 of them Cars Tour titles. I think Josh Berry only has 1 or 2, so definitely good. We got two new members, Bruce Reed and Cassandra. Welcome to the gang, guys. I think Cassandra's re-upping, but I think Bruce is new, so welcome to the gang there. Oh yeah, electric vets exist already, and they were powerful, says Jamie Schweitzer. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. They are super fast. You can't take the power away from them. It's the longevity. They're sort of the big weightlifter. They got a lot of power, but they probably don't have a great amount of cardio. Speaking in general terms, I'm wondering with an electric hybrid, the electrical system would be more dependable, and you could give drivers AC, which would be good. They could give drivers AC now if NASCAR would just mandate it. NASCAR needs to sack up and mandate driver comfort features. Like you have to run an AC system, and it's approved by NASCAR, because the only reason they're not putting it in now is because of weight. They're trying to save weight. So if NASCAR really cared about safety, and driver safety, overheating is one of those things, NASCAR would mandate a safety cooling system to put in the car. That's something that NASCAR has lagged behind for several years now. It could easily be done, and they need to do it at every level, not just the Cup Series. They need to do it all the way down to the late model series, because there was one Hampton Heat where they were just pulling dudes out of cars, and race car drivers are pretty tough, and they take it very seriously to fall out of the seat. But they were pulling guys out of the Hampton Heat 2 or 3 years ago that were getting absolutely cooked inside the car. They need to mandate a cooling system in these race cars all the way down to the late model level. And that's just there's your random rant for the day. My 16-year-old son fell in love with NASCAR around 6 years old. And to further up on that rant, when Dale Jr. raced at North Wilkesboro, he talked about how hot it was inside of a late model. And he talked about how tough those guys were and how he had gotten so accustomed to the Cup car having cooling in it. So there you go. It needs to be a mandated cooling system in all the cars with some type of ice pack, not just running cold air to the helmet, because Martin Truex Jr. talked about his whole body was cool, but the helmet was just blowing mildly warm air to his head. So it was actually burning his cheeks. He felt like his cheeks had sunburn on them. So a proper cooling system that cools the entire body, because the head is actually the main thing you need to keep cool, in my opinion. All right, that rant's over with. Put burnouts back in drag racing where they belong. Says Walter Flair. So yeah, if you ever want to bend some lifters and stuff like that, not lifters, God, valves. If you ever want to bend some valves, just do a burnout long enough. Hi, Mark, One Wise Guy, and BB. What's up, Cassandra? Good to have you on here as always. It would be great if Dodge pickups came into the Craftsman Truck Series in 2025. I agree with you. It would be really cool. I would love for Dodge to get back involved, other than just having commercials at every single race. Is there any chance of NASCAR returning to the Nashville Fairgrounds? I think there's a heavy chance they return to it. I think they're actively trying to do it. They just they got a lot of loopholes they're trying to jump through with the town council there. Hey, baby, what's with this exclusive club? Been waiting for my invite in the mail all week, says Ian Fisher. It's somehow down here in this thing right here. You can join. So I don't know exactly how it works, but it's down there somewhere. You can become a member. So there you go. A good bit of us will be gone before they're full electric, says Anthony Bailey. I think that's that's probably a fair assessment. So I would agree with you there, Anthony. Let's see. You got a super chat down here. Tell us how you really feel about cooling systems, says Timber Ace. Yeah, I might have to elaborate on that one day. I appreciate you, Timber Ace. Big fist bump. Anthony Bailey, welcome to the gang there, Anthony. Let's see here. Welcome, Cassandra. One of us says Shy. I hate to break it to everyone, but NASCAR's future is all electric. Stadium Series, says like dislike. I think they'll have a separate thing for that. I think the Cup Series will be hybrid for a long period of time, but you never know. The way things are changing. Mazda just axed an electric car because they only sold 16 of them in a year. So electric has some problems too. That's all I'll say about that. So I don't know if it's actually, I don't know. It's I can't predict the future. So I can see it going both ways, but I can't predict the future. Electric will never E. Damon giving the other side of the coin. Electric will never happen. Don't get worked up, guys, says E. Damon. Like dislike says, I hope I'm wrong. I have a severe heat stroke 3 times. Doctor told me one more, and either I die or suffer extreme brain damage. Hey, so there you go. It's nothing to play with. So Shy jumping in there. People don't realize how serious some of that stuff gets. It looks like Ty Gibbs becoming the 2023 Rookie of the Year is all but a foregone conclusion. Barring Noah Gragson winning like a plate race or something like that, I would say that's probably pretty accurate. Cassandra saying, hey to Robin. Shy told me, hey Shy, hey Cassandra. The doctor told him, Shy jumping in there and saying that. Gator saying, I like Truex and his car brand. The friend of mine fishing went wacko, lost a sponsor. The truck maker sent him a truck and paid the boat off from the Ranger boat. I told people if his boat is gone, he can use mine. So there you go, Gator jumping in. Everybody needs a friend like Gator. You know, if you lose your boat, He's got your back there. What do you think of the Xfinity at Road America, at the Road America race? I love Road America. I'm glad that NASCAR has the Xfinity Series there. I wish they had the Cup Series there. Like, I don't necessarily want to add another. I think we've got enough, if not too many, road courses now. But I hate that Road America is a road course we lost. If that makes any sense. So that's where I stand on Road America. I wish the Cup Series hadn't left. And Road America put out a good statement the other day, leaving the door open for the Cup Series. They said, "Hey, we were happy to be part of the Cup Series as long as we were. If they ever change their mind, our door is always open." So they handled it in a very classy manner. The country doesn't have the infrastructure to handle a great deal of electric vehicles, says Bruce Reed. Yeah, that's 100% accurate right there. And I know Volkswagen is part of their Dieselgate. Part of Volkswagen's Dieselgate thing is they are installing a bunch of those systems, but because the infrastructure is so poor and things like that. I saw the other day. I don't want to get into this too deep because it gets political because Elon Musk is involved, and people have varied opinions on that. But a lot of people are going to Chevrolet and Ford. I think those are the only two. Chevrolet and Ford, I know for sure, joined up with Tesla. So the upcoming Chevrolet and Fords, not I guess this year, but the years after this, you will be able to use the Tesla charging stations. So it looks like Elon Musk, being first to electric, he's figured out that the charging stations are where you're going to make the money. Whereas charging might be fairly cheap now, it's probably going to be the same as gas in the future if everything takes off, and obviously crystal ball and all that. But like, so the manufacturers don't even want to build the charging stations. So the electric future thing is so up in the air. It's just so crazy. I saw a guy on electric output of USA. How much do these cars use? Sold in 2 times what a gasoline car uses in a day. So yeah, you can. It's all kinds of stuff. Is it really better for the environment? There's all kinds of arguments. I'm not going to get into all that. I'm here to talk about NASCAR, and that's why I don't like talking about electric vehicles because it goes down this side tangent. And once you get far enough down that side tangent, it becomes political. So, and I'm not here to. There's plenty of YouTube channels that do politics and electric cars and stuff like that. I only touch on it when it has to deal with NASCAR, so I'm not going to go any further down that route. 6 for the win this weekend, says Old Home Guy. Napa Racing Fan, NASCAR is still looking to cut a 6-race summer package for a streamer like Amazon for Cup. Is this a good idea or still too soon? I think if it's just a 6-race deal, as long as you can watch it elsewhere, like as long as it's on Big Fox or Big NBC, I think the streaming option is fine. Because if you remember with Thursday Night Football, for a long time, you could watch it on Amazon or you could watch it on ESPN. As long as they do a deal like that, I think it's okay because it's a good way for NASCAR to dip their toe into the water of a streaming, in that case, a streaming giant like Amazon. Let's see here. Old Home Guy, I like your pick of Keselowski winning at Michigan as well, by the way. Wish BK didn't choke this weekend, though, says Ian Fisher. Yeah, it was rough to watch, but at least RFK won for him. Cassandra on Earth 2. Hey, so there you go on Earth 2. We're racing flying cars like in Star Wars or whatever, the pod racers. All electric chargers will be, but only every third Sunday. We race regular cars the rest of the Sundays. We'll be matching charger stations per U.S. government agreement with the manufacturers. Hey, so there you go. So they're going to have a electric a convention for all electric charging, says Cassandra. Or says Jamie Schweitzer and Cassandra with the electric on Earth too. There will be no more EV as we know it. We're all going to Series electric hybrid, which uses gasoline to drive a small engine array that drives EV, a range of 15 to 200 per tank. Miles per tank. The electric rabbit hole, says Shy. I got Ty Gibbs for the win this weekend, says like dislike. Will KFB get another win? Ty Gibbs, he might get one done before the year's out. He's been strong this season, especially the second half. Will KFB get another win or wins? Oh, I think I'm putting probably 2 more wins for Kyle Busch this year, if I'm guessing. If you think so, how many more? Check her. Oh, there you go. So 2. I should have read the whole question. But yeah, I think he gets about 2 more wins. I admire what Keselowski has been able to do with Roush so quickly. It's very impressive. I always knew Buescher was good, just needed better equipment in Cup. I'm with you, Napa fan. I knew Chris Buescher was really good. I hate his brother James Buescher. I never got a chance either because I thought James was pretty good in the Truck Series, obviously a Truck Series champion. But yeah, I knew Chris Buescher, or I didn't know, but I thought Chris Buescher was pretty good. And I'm glad. I knew Brad Keselowski would turn RFK around, but he has turned it around a lot faster than I thought he would. So I got to give credit where credit's due there. If the EV vehicle manufacturer would put dyno hubs on the cars, they could recharge when running down the road. That will never happen, though. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff EVs could do. Like I said, I'm not necessarily going to jump into that because, like I said, you get down the rabbit hole on that one. The people in the Ranger, because of my relation, had made a lot of their boat design in the forest woods. My uncle saw, he said directly related to me, the founder of Ranger Boat. I had to Google who he was. So there you go. You didn't even know you had the you had the Ranger guy with you. You had to Google it. That's pretty cool. The inventor of the Ranger boat. So there you go. How many subscribers from the Fix It Again Tony Hugo goal? It was like just under 100 the last time I checked, so a little bit less than 100, but we'll just say right at 100 for the sake of argument. Ranger boats are cheap junk in my opinion, says Mark Barnum. So there you go. He's not a Ranger boat fan. I just bought 2 donkeys and a buggy for them to pull going Amish, says Shaw. So there you go. We're going back to horse racing. And that's what I'm saying about internal combustion engine racing. There's still horse racing. There will still be somebody doing some type of internal combustion racing as well. So you just never know. Brad wasn't going to win, even if he didn't screw up. The 17 was faster, says Bo Darvel. Yeah, like I don't know. Brad Keselowski probably doesn't see it that way, but even though he was my teammate, if I'm Brad Keselowski, I'd door the 17, put him in the wall, and I take the win for myself. What's he going to say? I'm the boss. So there you go. Like to see Kevin Harvick, says Cassandra, win Michigan. Kevin Harvick's got to be one of your favorites. Let's forget EVs. We have a gasoline-powered car that NASCAR can't get right. There you go. That is a fair point, E. Damon. They can't even get the gasoline-powered one right. So do we have any hope if they go electric? If McDowell wins a race before the playoffs begin, will that end Chase's chance to qualify for the playoffs without a race win? Oh, man. Yeah, it would because Bubba Wallace is plus 54. So if you add the plus 54 to the 40 he's already out, that puts him at what, 94 by my math? So 94, that would put him at 94 points. So he would have to win to get in if McDowell won. So, yeah, I would say so. Did I hear that McDowell might be going to SHR? I don't know about McDowell to SHR. I've heard Zane Smith to SHR from some people in the chat and some other places. There, I might have made some phone calls to after I saw it in the chat. Ian Fisher, can you just do a video titled "Why I Love Bubba Wallace" and reach 10K in 3 minutes? Says Ian Fisher. I mean, I don't know. He's polarizing, so it could flip either way. It just depends. I think I'm the only person on the planet that's not bothered by him one way or the other. He's just another dude to me. Are you going to race the Yugo? Says one wise guy. I'm not going to get a Yugo. I'm going to get a Fiat, but I'll explain why I'm getting a Fiat in the video if we get to 10K. Donkey gas does smell bad, though, says Sha. Ross Chastain sure isn't getting talked about much recently after being the main focus of conversation for a while. Yeah, that's just because he's been streaky. And I think, Jay Santos, I think they've tried to make him be a bad guy so bad, and it just never took. Like, fans just keep pulling for him because of his backstory, because of who he is. It's very Earnhardt-like. Earnhardt did some things that most people wouldn't like, but because of his backstory, because of who he was, because of his personality, people just liked him. I think the same thing happened with Ross Chastain. They tried to put him in the villain category, and it just didn't work for him. Stone Cold Steve Austin, same thing. He was supposed to be a bad guy, but the fans just kept liking him, so he had to be the anti-hero. Assuming RFK becomes almost weekly contenders for wins, like Hendrick and Gibbs next year, that's what the next step, expand to 3 Cup cars, return to Roush to Xfinity, or have 100% alliance with Rick Ware Racing. Yeah, Rick Ware Racing is going to be the interesting piece of this puzzle. They've got the deal with RFK. Are they going to get serious about it next year? We don't know. They're a big wild card, but Justin Haley going to Rick Ware Racing makes you think that they might be getting serious about it. Soon we have 2 more winners, and Bubba is out. So Mark Barnum, not a Bubba Wallace fan. In between the lanes, not so fast. Blenberger, closer than experts think. It says in between the lanes. Where does SVG go? Justin Marks mentioned that he would like SVG to race with Trackhouse full time. Yeah, so I think Trackhouse has the inside lane. I think 100% Trackhouse. would have to be my first pick if I'm picking where he's going. Are you going to race the Fiat then? Yes, I'm going to race the Fiats, but I don't want to get too far into it. The redesign ruined them. The boats, talking about the Rangers here. I have one that was beat on by my relatives a year. Ruined the engine, a V6 that sucked gas like mad. Evan Rood or Johnson wiring sucks. One dealer did fix the wiring. SVG is overrated in my opinion. That's a big gamble, says Shaw. I don't know that he's overrated, but he's not going to come in there and immediately be a contender. Even he himself has said the ovals are going to be a challenge, and he knows it's going to take at least 3 years to get used to it. So I think he's an investment in the future, but he's a quality driver. I would put him in the Tony Stewart boat where he can pretty much just drive anything. So whether or not he wins championships like Tony Stewart, I don't know. I'm just saying he's a driver similar to Tony Stewart who can kind of drive anything. Only so many road races, says Shy. Yeah, that's for sure. What are you working on this week, BB? Says One Wise Guy. This week we're going to South Boston. So I'll be at South Boston this week. Possibly Craig Moore is going to race, and Jason Turner is also going to race. So stay tuned. That's going to be this weekend. SVG is going to need good equipment. Depends on that, in my opinion, says Shy. Yeah, the equipment is definitely going to be a huge factor. Do we have to deal with Austin Cindric at Penske for as long as Dad is there? He and his new glasses need to go. They're not doing him any good, says E. Damon. I would say he's probably going to be there longer than Cole Custer was at Haas, but that's all I can say about that. Who's your favorite current, and what's your favorite current and past NASCAR tracks? Well, North Wilkesboro for sure is up there. I enjoyed Daytona. I enjoyed Phoenix when I went out there. I don't know. Martinsville, I go every year. So obviously I like that one, but you go every year. It doesn't, I don't know. Probably, I guess the first time I went there, it hooked me. So I don't know. There's all the ones I've been to. I can't say I've been to one that I was like, man, I'm never, except Rockingham, but that's not even on the schedule anymore. I went to Rockingham, and Ernie Irvan and Kyle Petty were the only two cars I felt like that were on the lead lap in like 92 or 93, somewhere in there. But yeah, other than that, yeah. I don't know. Rockingham was probably it was cold, damp. It was miserable. It was a bad experience. But I won money in the pot because I had Kyle Petty. Let's see, or I had Ernie Irvan. I'm sorry, you couldn't bet on whoever had the pole. So I got Ernie Irvan, and Ernie Irvan in the 4 Kodak car won me the money. What's your favorite? I just read that one. The day you get it and the day you sell it, says Sonny V. Yeah, that's the best 2 days of owning a boat. Jamie Schweitzer, I always wondered if Richard Petty took Bubba's decision to jump ship hard or miff the king at least. It's hard to say. He definitely took the Smithfield decision pretty tough. Obviously, when Bubba Wallace left, he took a bunch of sponsors with him. So I don't know. I don't know how he took that one. So it definitely, from a sponsor perspective, when Bubba was there, it helped the team. But when Bubba left, the only thing I guess I would have to lean, he wasn't probably happy, but I don't know if he was miffed or mad. But I do know he was mad when Smithfield left with Eric Almirola. So if you compare the two situations, you would have to say if he was mad when Smithfield left, he was probably upset when he lost all the sponsors when Bubba Wallace left as well. So that's the only thing I can really base that on. Like dislike, who's better, peak of their career, Jeff Gordon, or peak career, Jimmy Johnson? Flip a coin. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say. I would say Jeff Gordon, but that's because I didn't necessarily appreciate Jimmy Johnson being a Kevin Harvick fan. I was just like, man, if Kevin Harvick was sitting in Hendrick equipment, Jimmy Johnson wouldn't have as many titles. So part of that is bias, but I also don't like Jeff Gordon either because I felt the same way about Jeff Gordon when I was pulling for Earnhardt. So I don't know. I don't know. Flip a coin on that one. Is RFK currently the best Ford team? If so, Christopher Buescher, the best driver Ford has right now? I would say yes, says Napa Racing Fan. I think RFK is the second best Ford team. I would say Penske is the best Ford team. They have one car that's underperforming in the 2 car, but the 12 car and the 22 car, I think are pretty solid. And if you go down the list of Ford drivers, I would have to say Joey Logano is the best driver. If I'm looking at it right now, I would have to say Joey Logano is your best Ford driver. But that's just my 2 cents on it. Gordon's 98 season speaks for itself, says Bo Darville. Hey, so there you go. Only 9 trucks on the lead lap this last race, says Mark Barnum. Yep, but at least they all finished. Weird how Richard Petty Motorsports is rumored to move to Toyota. Now rebranded Legacy MC is moving there. Yep. It happened by Nook or Crook, didn't it? Kyle Petty was the king. And that was, of course, from Door Bumper Clear, who said that they were going to go to Toyota. Kyle Petty was the king of the Rock for a few years, at least the first race of the season. He dominated that one. Then the second race, whatever setup Sabco had wasn't working on the second race. Same with Morgan Shepherd at Atlanta, says Napa Racing Fan. Yeah, he wore him out one year at Atlanta, that's for sure. Do you see the Richard Petty will flip a finger to Legacy and leave or start over? Says Oldham. I think he's too old to start over. I think he's happy being the figurehead, or the whatever you want to call him, the lead consultant, whatever his actual official role is over there. I think he's happy with that for now. He doesn't necessarily agree with all their decisions, but he seems to be happy just to be a part of it at this point. I think he doesn't want the responsibility of that at his age right now. So I think he's happy doing what he's doing, although he's probably still used to having more input than he's having right now. Logano is the only driver week to week where he can have a terrible setup. Be invisible the whole race and then end up finishing top 8 all the while subpar Ford equipment this year. That's a fair point, Damon. That's a very fair point. Bring back the Hudson Hornet to the Cup Series. Yeah, I think that thing was outlawed at some point because it won too many races. Richard Petty is irrelevant now. Sorry, but it's true. He might be irrelevant to some people, but to a lot of people, he's the reason that they started watching, and he's the reason that they still watch. There's a lot of people that still pull for that 43. Natalie Decker's boyfriend races like she does, says Mark Barnum. Harvick is greater than Logano. Harvick getting so Kevin Harvick's retiring though, so that's what I didn't think about him. Sorry about that, Bo Darble. Yeah, I would put Harvick in front of Logano, but Harvick's retiring, so I would say Logano is going to be the best driver. Good finishes in straight garbage equipment. So yeah, flip a coin on those two. But since Harvick is retiring, I'm going Logano here because obviously you're not getting Kevin Harvick back next year. So for whatever reason, I don't think about Kevin Harvick because he's unfortunately announced his retirement, and I don't want to make my peace with that because that was a guy I pulled for when Earnhardt left us. I hope the 4 wins a race before the playoffs. Yeah, me too. If not, I got the last win right here, and if he wins another one, I'll replace that with the last win, and this one will go up. Let's see here. Stewart-Haas Racing has been bad this year, other than Harvick. They were pretty good this weekend, though, so hopefully that's a sign of positive momentum. Good at Richmond, though. Hey, Napa Racing Man, good at Richmond. There you go. Same thought process. Richard Petty will always be beloved and the king. Yeah, so that's the crazy thing. You think Dale Jr. is popular? You think Dale Jr. Is beloved? Man, go pull up some video of Richard Petty trying to walk through a crowd. Man, it looks like Jordan at the 92 Olympics in Barcelona. Like people don't even understand how popular Richard Petty was. Like it's, I don't know. It's something to behold. You need to Google it if you've never seen it. I know people don't have the same feeling now, but when he was in his prime at his peak, he was an absolute Elvis Presley level rock star in the South. Ric Flair almost but not Ric Flair attitude, obviously. How many championships does Harvick have? One less than Logano, says E. Damon Racing. What's up with Briscoe? He's had a bad. Every once in a while, a driver just has a bad season. Chase Briscoe is just having a bad season. Oh God, a bad season. I agree. I'm a fan. I'm sorry he has passed. Says Shaw. I'm not taking anything personally here. President flew in for the King and KFC. Yeah, so that's one of the most iconic moments in all of NASCAR, and I've got that car somewheres. You can't see it; it's off camera. If I lean back far enough, can you see it? Nope, can't see it. But yeah, I've got the car that the president flew in on. The guy made Merc outboards, raced NASCAR. He ran 2 years. It was Dodges. And quit over a wreck. The guy in second place was hurt, and I told him to quit. Team's folding, says Gator. So there you go. The guy that did Ranger apparently raced. If Joey wins this year's championship, he'll be at Tony Stewart level of NASCAR legend status, says Jamie Schweitzer. So yeah, that's also an important thing to watch. Not a lot of people think about it, but there was a rivalry between Tony Stewart and Joey Logano because Joey Logano replaced him in the 20 car. Wish Richard Petty was better from 85 to 92, or it just hung it up in 85. especially the final race in Atlanta '92, heartbreaking way for the King to go out. That's the way it goes sometimes. You can't pick how you go out. So I'm glad he just raced until he knew he couldn't race anymore. So when he got out of that car, even though he knew he still wanted to race, he knew the ability wasn't there. Like a lot of guys get out of the car early and they're like, man, I should go back and race again. Well, Richard Petty knew the ability was gone when he got out of the car, so he got all out of it that he wanted to get. Mark Barnum says, I'm going to skip that one. Let's see. Not disrespecting the King, says Shop, or I do not mean to. You're not. No, we're not taking it as disrespectful. What a terrible season this has been, says E. Damon Racing. Well, didn't he get penalized for his mouth at least a couple more times before the end of the season? That's going to be the interesting thing. Maybe we need to start keeping score on the Actions Detrimental podcast. You can get the Action Supercritical t-shirt at the merch store if you want to check that one out. We do have those. Let's see here. Right there, that link right there, you can get the Action Supercritical shirt. And that's nothing against Denny Hamlin. I'm just having fun with the situation. I know this is a random, but yeah, it'll be cool to keep up with how many times he gets in trouble or gets fined from NASCAR for his podcast. I know this is random, and he might have it factored out where if it's just a monetary fine, he might have it factored out to where the podcast pays more money than the fine. So he might even have it broken down like that. I know this is random, BB, but I like when Kyle Petty says, let me say this. Yeah, he needs a t-shirt that says, let me say this. Dale Jr. has the t-shirt that says, I don't care what, or I don't give a F what Kyle, or what the F does Kyle Petty have to do with this? So Kyle Petty needs a t-shirt that says, let me say this. But sure, Richard Petty is 85 or 86 years old. So Sonny V, yeah, I don't think he wants the full responsibility of it anymore. So I think he's happy with his role now. He gets to be at the racetrack. He gets to be part of a race team. And he doesn't have to deal with all the headaches. I think he's good with it. And he got a good chunk of change for his team. So he's got money to give to his grandchildren and all that good stuff. For we hope old home, says Mark Barnum, went to the 74 Daytona 500, and Richard Petty was the only talk. So there you go. Brickyard Brickhead letting them know. I like Chase Briscoe. He will be back. Yeah, I'm with you, Cassandra. He's just having a bad year this year. Mickey championships have been good for Joey, bad for Kevin. Kevin wins 60. Joey wins 32. The Cup doesn't mean what it used to. Yeah, it's going to be impossible, other than wins, to compare generations. But it always has been. There's always been different point systems. Don't forget Kyle Petty's. That's incredible, says NASCAR Racing Fan 927. Napa Racing Fan 927. Sorry about that. Another thing I heard the old drivers say all the time was, let me tell you something. So there you go. Let me tell you something. Usually followed with a finger point in Richard Petty's case. When Richard Petty did the finger point, that's when you knew you were in trouble, is what they said back in the day. Looks like we've reached the end of the chat, so I'll answer a few more if you've got them. If not, I'll jump off. But we'll hang out here for a few more minutes. I hung with Petty, Logano, and Blaney for the Charlotte Motor Speedway next-gen testing in November. Petty told me Joey is the most exciting driver for him. Hey, so there you go. There's a little inside information from Jamie. Richard Petty is a Joey Logano fan. And Joey Logano is super nice. If you've never met him, he's another one that's super nice with the fans. I was talking about Noah Gragson earlier. Joey Logano is another one. If you walk up and talk to him, he'll talk to you like he's known you his whole life. Richard Petty is the king, and Richard Petty the same way, by the way. However, Earnhardt Sr. is what made NASCAR a national top 5 sport. And at the time, I kind of like Rusty better only because of the car. It's a chicken and the egg. Which came first? If Richard Petty hadn't elevated to where he elevated it, could Earnhardt have elevated it to where he elevated it? I agree with you that they both elevated the sport, but I don't think you can have one without the other. And Richard Petty doesn't get there without Lee Petty. So, I mean, there's all kinds of layers to this. The Richard Petty-David Pearson rivalry also helped Richard Petty. Name the rivalry with Earnhardt. All of those helped Earnhardt. Dale Jarrett in the booth for the Xfinity race was nice. No doubt about that. He needs to do more booth work, I think. He's always pretty good, but for whatever reason, they seem to have him on a part-time deal. Any follow-up of the SRX fill-in for Tracy? It's going to be Johnny Benson for the next race. After that, I don't know. Dislike the poll right now, 58%, Noah Gragson. Unless you're a tow truck driver, says Robin Marks. Have a good one, bud. Traditions. Yeah, I'm not closing out the poll till after I close out the chat here. Good race to watch, says Mark Barnum. So check that one out on YouTube. Cool hanging out with all you guys, says Cassandra. I like to see Dale in the booth. Not impressed with Burton, although I don't dislike him in the booth as much as some do, says Napa Racing Fan. He just sounds too much like Dale Jr. to a lot of people. Peace and Hooters says Asha. And E. Damon says, as always, thanks, BB. I appreciate y'all. Got selfies with me, Petty Logano, and Blaney in November and December at Charlotte Motor Speedway test. They're all very nice. Says Jamie Schweitzer. I can confirm on Blaney too. My buddy's a Blaney fan, and he talked to him and got autographs from him. He said Blaney's a super nice guy, although I haven't met Blaney myself. Fans love Petty when he lapped the field 3 or 4 more times. Petty was the man. People just don't know. Aaron Flynn says, "What's up? What's up, Aaron? Peace out, Kyle. Let's hit 10K. Yeah, hopefully we will. Thanks for another awesome one. And that's it. And Mark Barnum's got another link there. All right. He said that was the wrong link, so this is the right link right here for the awesome race. All right, I will check y'all on the next one. Peace."